In this video, we're going to create the backboard structure for our bowling alley. As a carryover from the previous video, we'll be using the file name bowlingalley02. You can find it in the Working Files folder. Let's start by first selecting both the back wall and the floor. We can make that multiple selection holding down the Control key. With those now selected, we'll right-click, then from the menu choose Hide Selection. Let's now take our front view full screen. Now once we're there, let's go ahead and zoom in on our objects. For the backboard, we're going to start using a rectangle. In the Modify column, let's open up the Shape commands, clicking on Rectangle. Starting over on the left-hand side of the left gutter, we'll now draw a rectangle above the other objects in the scene. With that in place, let's go ahead and make some size changes. We'll take the length to 700 and the width to 800. Let's now first center the rectangle in our 3D space by activating the Move command, right-clicking and accessing the Type In transform. Using the absolute world values on the left-hand side, we'll zero out all three numbers. Once we've done that, we can grab the Y stick on our transformation gizmo, moving our backboard up above the alley. With that in place, I'll center the rectangle by typing Z. Okay, now we're going to cut out the inside area before we convert this into a 3D object. Having the %snap toggle still active, let's switch over from Move to the Scale command. Holding down the Shift key so we'll make a copy, let's now fill in the empty diagonal bar on the Scale gizmo. As we drag to make our copy, look below the timeline, setting the % to 70. With that done, we can accept the options in the dialog as they are, simply clicking OK. Now, this new inside shape was made so we could cut out part of the larger outside rectangle. To make that cut, we're going to want to make sure that the two shapes overlap. Let's activate the Move command, moving the inside rectangle down closer to the pins. What I'm primarily concerned with is the top edge of the rectangle. The area that will be cut out will be from that edge down to the lower edge on the larger rectangle. Now, in order to be able to make that cut, which is going to be a 2D shape Boolean, we'll need to first attach our two shapes together. Let's right-click on our smaller rectangle, converting it to an editable spline. With that now accomplished, we'll look for the Attach command over in the Modify column. Finding the button, we'll now activate that, clicking on the larger rectangle. This attaches the two shapes together. Let's get out of the Attach command. Back in the modifier stack, let's open the Editable Spline entry, heading down to Spline. We can now click on the larger of the two squares. The Boolean command that we're going to need to use will be located a little farther down. You'll see the command having three different options: union, subtraction, and intersection. Of the three, we'll click the middle button, that being subtraction. We'll now activate the Boolean button, then carefully click somewhere on the smaller rectangle. This cuts one spline from the other, giving us the shape that we want. Let's now turn off the Boolean button, heading back up to the top of the stack. Once we've done that, we'll return to our perspective view being full screen. With things in place, we can now add the Extrude modifier. And we'll change the amount of the extrude to 250. Let's now name the object Alley Backboard. We can then right-click on our screen, choosing Unhide All. With our floor and back wall objects back in view, let's move the backboard so the front of it lines up with the pins. We can then slide the back wall forward if needed. With things in pretty good position, let's go ahead and save our scene out as Bowling Alley 03. We'll then move on to the next video where we can begin constructing our scoreboard.